Good evening, Guardians, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Tower Talk. This is episode number 34. I'm Ben, on the other end of the microphone there. That's Brent. We are here on behalf of Short Pause. www.shortpause.com is the website. At the Short Pause is how you follow us on Twitter. Tower Talk is our Destiny-focused video discussion series where Brent and I hop in here. We talk any and everything in the world of Destiny. We have a damn fine time doing it. Brent, how are you this fine Valentine's Day, man? What's going on?
Well, let's see. I'm down here talking to you about Destiny 2, and I'm not upstairs with my wife, so I can tell you right now it's going good for now. When I go upstairs, there's going to be hell to pay.
Yeah, it's what we do here. We sacrifice for the people to bring them entertainment.
She doesn't understand the bromance involved with Crimson Doubles. She doesn't understand that you and I are celebrating Valentine's Day earlier tonight playing Crimson Doubles. She doesn't understand that. I'll try to explain it to her later.
Yeah, I mean, we have our own celebrations to get to, you know. So why can't they just understand that?
They never do.
So it's Valentine's Day today. A new This Week at Bungie has arrived. Another week of Destiny is in the books, and we are rapidly moving towards the next season of Destiny. Season of the Drifter is right around the corner, Brent. But before we get there, we have some things to talk about. So first and foremost on the docket is the aforementioned Crimson Days. So Crimson Day is happening right now in the world of Destiny. It's a week-long event. It happens every Valentine's Day in the Destiny universe. Basically, a new Crimson Doubles playlist comes into the Crucible where you and a partner hop in there. There's some interesting mechanics that go into that, and you kind of play out in these very taut 2v2 battles. We actually played some Crimson Days, Brent, before we hopped on the show here this evening. We got out there, gave it a whirl, see what we could do. We put up a fight, but alas, Crimson Days got the best of us, and we were not able to pull out any victories today. So we were close, man. That last match, we were up 2-1. We had the victory match in our sights, and we just laid a total egg in that fourth match. I mean, we got housed. And then that just set us up for failure in the sudden death round because we had just got absolutely annihilated with the game on the line. But Brent, I want to get your thoughts on this. So your thoughts on the event. There's a number of new bounties that are available, a number of new rewards that are available that you can partake in this week in Crimson Days. Obviously, the big ticket item is the Crimson Doubles playlist. There is the new Vow bow that's available. It's a fully masterworked max power level bow that you can obtain by participating in Crimson Days. So there's some interesting stuff going on in Crimson Days. Brent, let me get your thoughts on the event though, on what's going on with it.
Yeah, we hopped in there tonight, ran some doubles, and I really do like doubles. I mean, we didn't have much success tonight, but you know, I'll attribute that to the fact that there's just a lot of good Destiny 2 players, like in these specific events. You know, like much like Trials, there are just really good teams in Trials, and then there's people in doubles who understand it, all aspects of the mode. They know the strategy, they have it locked down, they know they have the right loadouts, they know to move in on that heavy location and kind of lock that down. You got to stay together so you don't appear on the other team's HUD. And there's just a lot of strategy involved in Crimson Days, and I really do like that about it. You know, you and I, we don't claim to be like top-tier players, but we do enjoy the battle. We've had our share of success. But, you know, when it comes to these time-specific events like Iron Banner, Trials, and Crimson Doubles, this is where the elite go to. This is where they go to play, and we ran into quite a few tough crews. But it was good. It was a learning experience. We held our own multiple times. We pushed it to the brink, and it was a lot of fun. And you know, you go in there and you're earning the hearts and stuff. And we hopped before that. We went in and doubled the Nightfall. We got that 75 hearts right away. So we had the Vow bow relatively quickly tonight. I mean, it only took us maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah,
we did the Nightfall, a couple of Crimson Doubles, then we also cleared up a couple of the bounties in the process. So we got the bow. I like the bow. I think it's really nice. It's fully masterworked. It's got that rapid fire ability to it, so you can fire them quickly. And it's a nice bow. But Crimson Doubles, it's a cool event. And I just like it because it's really focused on a different type of multiplayer experience. It's you and your partner. You got to stick together. There's a lot of communication, more so than you will find in Iron Banner, right up there with Trials of the Nine. You really got to coordinate and work as a team.
Yeah. And that's one of the things we've played Crimson doubles matches before, Brent, in both Destiny 2 and Destiny 1. This is an event that's been around for a long time in the Destiny universe. And when we were playing it this evening, I was just struck by what you were saying there, just how much strategy there is in this mode.
Oh, yeah.
And I think as the years go on in Destiny, we gain a better and better understanding of what it takes to succeed in the Crucible. And when you hop into one of these Crimson doubles matches and you start to think about all of the different strategic factors that go into a match of this, like, are you going? It's just 2v2. So these are small, intimate maps for the most part, because they were made for 4v4 teams. So there's a little more open space to play with in a 2v2 setting. But you go in there, and the first thing you're thinking about is, all right, what loadout am I going to bring in here? Like, what guns, what abilities do I want to highlight in this mode? Then you get in there, and you're like, okay, do we use close quarters combat? Are we going to rush in on the enemy? Are we going to try to play it from a distance and snipe or use bows? There's one power brick that spawns in the middle of the map. Do we go and try and hold that down? Like, that's a big part of these matches. There's a lot of things to think about at any given time in a Crimson doubles match. Like you said, man, there's really a lot of strategy. There's a lot of communication, and there's all the different buffs that go into it as well. So you have to stay together with your partner, and if you do so, your abilities recharge really quickly. So the teams we were running up against, they were really utilizing that to the best of their abilities.
They were spamming grenades like crazy.
Throwing grenades, constantly getting their supers. So they really knew how to work the tag team system that doubles offers. You got this, if you stray too far from your partner, you show up on the map. There's a big icon that points out where you're at on the map, so it's easy for enemies to track you down. So you got to think about distance and how far you want to get from your partner. Then you've got that vengeance buff, so which enhances your ability recharge rate when your partner dies, gives you some of your life back, so you can kind of make that last stand for your team. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that I don't remember being in Crimson doubles before. So I don't know if these are new additions or if I just was not paying attention before when they were a part of the mode. But yeah, dude, I thought it was a lot of fun, man. It's really intense.
Yeah,
it's an intense mode. It is not for the faint of heart. It's not a casual, like, let me just hop in here and play some Destiny. Like, this is not a quick play match. This is an intense mode. So it's best to go in there with somebody that you can communicate with, and then you've really got to kind of work your strategy out. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed in there, Brent. I think, if we get a few more matches under our belt and we start to really understand the ins and outs of this mode and how best to utilize our abilities and recharge rates and all that kind of stuff, like we'd be able to do some damage in this mode. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot more intense than I remembered these matches being. Like I said, I don't know if I just am not remembering this correctly or if I just wasn't paying much attention before. But yeah, this seemed very intense, very taut, very strategic, very exciting. I really liked it, man.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. And like the other part of it I like is you really do have to think about your loadout as well. Your loadout. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are like, okay, it's Crucible. I want to bring pulse rifle and this and that. But I mean, like, yeah, you can. But I'm gonna bring a bow. Specific bows are really nice in here. I mean, obviously you've got the Wish Ender where you can see them through the walls and stuff, call it out to your teammate, try to line up that double kill shot. Or else, the Layman Arc was working nice, because if you can get that damage kill and have that void damage run off and injure the other person, you can do some serious damage with those two weapons. The bows were nice, especially for at range. If you got somebody working a bow and somebody maybe using what we saw tonight, one team was using a bow, the other guy had the Persuader, and they were it was a ranged battle, and it was pretty nasty. So just looking at your weapons, like, I kept thinking to myself, maybe I should be using the Two-Tailed Fox. You're playing against two people, you're sticking together, you fire that off, you're going to get both of them. So it's just, there's a lot of depth to it, and I really do appreciate that about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because like you said, there's a lot of stuff you don't think about when you're in a 4v4 or 6v6 match that you now need to think about in a 2v2 match. Not only just the fact that there's only two other people on the battlefield, but like you said, with the abilities that are recharged and all the other stuff that's going into it, there's really a lot you need to think about. So if you're a fan of like strategic combat in a first person shooter or in a competitive setting, I think there's a lot to dig into with Crimson Days and a lot to like with it. And then I like that there's other stuff tied to the event as well. So we have the bounty system, which not only incorporates the Crimson Doubles playlist, but it incorporates the Nightfall, which you have to two-man, which that was fun. It was fun to go in there and just two-man the Nightfall, and we strategized how we were going to do that as well. There's bounties for doing story missions together, so they have stuff outside of the Crucible that people can get in there, and they'll be able to complete all of their weekly bounties outside of the Crucible if they wanted to as well. So I love that that's an option now. And I actually had quite a few of the rewards for Crimson Days, so not too much more for me to earn, but I did earn the vow. I'm looking forward to using that. It's a fully masterwork draw time on that bow, and it has a lot of other perks that go towards that draw time. So I feel like that thing is going to be able to fire off really quickly, and probably behooves us to get a grip on how that thing operates. But yeah, it looks like that's going to be a cool addition to the Destiny universe as well. The other thing that's cool about Crimson Days is it's only a week long. Yep. So it comes and goes very fast. So it doesn't overstay its welcome. It comes in. It's an exciting event for the week that it's here. You get to get in there, participate, earn some cool rewards, and then it's gone until next year. So so I do think that it's a pretty fun event, and if you're a fan of the Crucible and Destiny, it's definitely something you should check out at some point.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah. So I definitely want to play some more of that this weekend. I do want to try to get the triumphs, get a few of the other rewards that I'm missing, see if I can knock out some more of these bounties. So I will do that to the best of my ability this weekend. But yeah, I think Crimson Days is a lot of fun. Now, as far as what else is going on this week, Brent, so we got the This Week at Bungie update, and one of the very interesting things they addressed in here was trials, which I didn't expect them to address, and certainly not in this way. But there's some interesting stuff to glean from this. So I'm going to read from the blog post here. But under the heading of trials, it reads as follows. Ever since Trials of the Nine went on hiatus back in Season 4, many of you have been asking when it will come back and how it will be evolving. Now, Brent, I don't know if you've been following this in the community, but there's a lot of people talking about Trials. A lot of people lamenting Trials and bringing Trials back, especially in its elimination 3v3 form. A lot of people are clamoring for the return of Trials in some form of elimination. We still don't have a timeline for when it may return, but we do want to give you an update on our current thinking about Trials. Here's the team to fill you in. This is the Destiny development team. So this is not one single person, but this is them collectively delivering this message. As longtime Destiny players know, Trials of Osiris was released in May of 2015 as the original high-stakes weekend PvP event. Trials had an amazing impact on our game and our community. It was a pinnacle venue for players to show off their best skills, strategies, and gear. The 3v3 elimination mode combined with the card system created the coveted reward of earning a trip to the lighthouse. And this was a boon in the original Destiny, Brent. We went in the Trials of Osiris and got absolutely housed. Losing something like 40 rounds straight or something something absurd. But the Destiny community really rallied around Trials of Osiris. This was a big time mode. There was a lot of streamers that were kind of making their living streaming Trials every weekend, and this really showcased a very high level of PvP play in the Destiny universe, and it was exciting to watch. With the introduction of Trials of the Nine in Destiny 2, we made a few changes to the formula, which never really hit the same mark. We were unhappy with its role in the ecosystem. The new activity wasn't achieving the goal of bringing the community together every weekend. Both Destiny and the online PvP scene have evolved since 2015, so we don't believe that bringing back the 2015 version of Trials of Osiris would accomplish what our goals are today. Until we have a solid prototype for a pinnacle PvP endgame activity, Trials is staying on hiatus indefinitely and will not return over the course of the next few seasons. Wow. When we have those new plans ready, we'll be sure to share them with you. End quote. So, Brent, some heavy stuff in here, man. So they flat out said, regardless of what we may have heard or what we may think, and I'm curious what the Destiny community as a whole thinks about this. I haven't gone to really see what everybody's been saying about this, but I see a lot of people talking about bringing 3v3 elimination back in some form. So maybe they don't want it to be in the exact form it was in Trials of Osiris. That's up for debate. But there's a lot of people that want 3v3 elimination to come back in a Trials format. So Bungie has come out and said the scene has evolved since then. We don't want to simply do Trials of Osiris all over again. And then they really hit the whammy here with this thing's on hiatus indefinitely and will not return over the course of the next few seasons. So if we're doing the math on that, Trials of Osiris will not be a part of Season of the Drifter or Penumbra leading up to whatever happens in the fall with this game. At the earliest we see Trials return is maybe with the big fall update, if there is one. Obviously, we don't know what the future holds in terms of that, but this was surprising to me, Brent, that they came out and just flat out told everybody, like, look, this thing's not coming back anytime soon. Don't get your hopes up. What's your thoughts on this, man? What's your thoughts on them addressing this? What's your thoughts on them just saying that regardless of what I feel like people are saying, they just don't want to bring back Trials of Osiris the way it was in Destiny 1. What do you think, man?
I think it's strange, man. I understand that Bungie is trying to make Destiny 2 different from Destiny 1. Okay, I understand that. But I feel like, in the process of the last couple months since Forsaken launch, the success from that is because Bungie listened to the community. They were listening to all the feedback. They were listening to what the fans wanted, and they made those changes, and everyone's happy. Now, I understand Trials of the Nine didn't hit it off as well as Trials of Osiris did. Trials of the Nine was just kind of like there, and it didn't have anything to really set it apart to make it a special event. What I think they need to do is, well, actually, it's not my place to say, but I feel like the best move right now is because I think about Trials of the Nine, and I think about Crimson Doubles, and how Crimson Doubles is a unique event. It's very, very unique. And we talked about how before in Destiny 1, Trials of Osiris was a huge... There was a lot of people that liked to tune into that. That was like the most competitive modes. It was like the elite played there, and people were tuning into it, and people loved it. People had a really good time with it. I understand they want to try to make something different, but in the meantime, give the community what they want. Give them that unique experience that's different than Crucible, that's different than Iron Banner, that is a more competitive edge. Don't just go seasons. I mean, we're talking about a good 7 months from now. We might not see it for 7 months. At least 7 months. And, I mean, I love Iron Banner. Iron Banner's, that's like my elite thing. I like playing Iron Banner. Crimson Doubles is another thing. I know that I have to put a ridiculous amount of time to get any good at Trials of the Night, and I get that, and I respect that about it. That's what I really enjoy about Trials. That's what I really liked about Trials of Osiris, despite getting our asses handed to us. I feel like Bungie needs to look at this and be like, hey, look, let's just add this other element to the Crucible. Let's add this what people want, and we can tweak it over time. I don't know what it would take for them to be like, okay, look, let's just implement a 3v3 elimination. I'm sure it will work with all these maps. We just did doubles on a bunch of maps. So I'm sure 3v3 will work just fine. But, this is what the community wants. Don't lose sight of that. You got Destiny 2 to a great place listening to all the feedback. And the Crucible community is looking for something for the elite. You don't get that in the normal playlist. You get that in Iron Banner a little bit. But, I think it's difficult for that because there's so many players that are playing without a clan. And, it's hard to mash that because they're trying to adjust that so it's only clans versus clans. That's where the Trials of the Nine and Trials of Osiris really flourishes, is when you get the clans that can play against one another. I feel like that Destiny still needs that mode. And, dude, if 3v3 elimination is what the community wants now, give it to them, man, and then just tweak it over time and introduce the new version of whatever you're planning on doing down the road. You won't have to rush anything. I'm pretty sure the community is not going to be like, oh, man, this is just Trials of Osiris. That's what they want, dude.
Yeah, and that's where I'm torn on this, Brent, because I don't know if I'm just ignorant to what the community actually wants, but I feel like when I see people talk about Trials and how they miss Trials, they're talking about 3v3 elimination. That's what they want. It's just some form of 3v3 elimination in a trial setting in this game. And I feel like you said, that's going to make a lot of people really happy and really excited to participate in the trials activity. Now, obviously, there's more that goes into that. Like, what do the rewards look like? What type of weapons are being offered? What types of armor and ornaments? And that was a huge part of Trials of Osiris. Trials of Osiris in Destiny 1 had some awesome weapons that I was like, man, I'm never going to get my hands on that thing. That sucks. But more power to the people that are awesome at this, and they're able to get these weapons. And that was one of the areas where Trials of the Nine fell short. The rewards just weren't worth it. They didn't have those just game-defining weapons weren't a
Right.
part of Trials of the Nine like they were with Trials of Osiris. So, there's a lot of stuff from Trials of Osiris, Brent, that you and I never saw from
Right.
both an armor and a weapon perspective that only the elite of the elite were able to get their hands on. And that's what these players want, man. They want that 3v3 elimination with those elite tier rewards. And yeah, I just feel like you said, I don't know if Bungie's just overthinking this, or like I said, I could just be ignorant to what the community really wants on this. I'm just simply going off what I'm reading, and I feel like when I read stuff, people are just talking about Trials of Osiris and 3v3 elimination. So if there's another layer to this that I'm unfamiliar with, that will bear itself out over time. But I'm with you. I feel like right now the community is just like, just give us elimination, give us that, and we're happy. So and now that they've put this out here, like they've put this post out here, they let you know, like, hey, we're thinking about trials, we're thinking about what that pinnacle PvP activity looks like, and we're not going to do anything on this for a while. If that's what the community really wants, if they want 3v3 elimination, they will bang the drum and they will beat the door down for this now that they know that trials is not on the schedule for the next 2 updates.
Right.
So if that's the case, like those drum bangings are going to get really loud, and Bungie's going to have no choice but to maybe think about, all right, like the community really, really wants 3v3 elimination. Maybe we go back to the drawing board and try and get this in sooner than we were planning. Or maybe there's just a select few people that are beating the drum for 3v3 elimination. It's just a vocal minority, and there really won't be much said about this at all, and Bungie will just go back to what they were doing, try and make something exciting to get more people excited about. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out here with Trials. But there's some very interesting conversations going on in the competitive Destiny community right now. The where all of the best players go right now is the competitive playlist, and they're shooting for those pinnacle rewards, and they're playing at legend rank and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of debate in the community about that right now, about what the competitive playlist should look like and how that should play out. So there's just a lot of uncertainty surrounding the competitive part of Destiny right now, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that kind of all bears itself out over the rest of the annual pass year and whatever the future holds for Destiny.
I'll be curious to see what they do, man, because I really do feel like this community wants that. And, and I hate, I know there's, for a while there, a lot of the Destiny 2 fans, hardcore fans were like, oh, Bungie's just catering to the streamers and they're just doing what they want them to do. You know what, man? This is the time where we need these big-time streamers to go to Bungie and be like, hey, look, just give us a 3v3 elimination. Get the pressure from the people who have the biggest voices. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, obviously – all these publishers look at streamers who have that big influence, and they take. I'm sure they take their feedback. They invite them out to Bungie Studios, for God's sake. So they go out there and they get to have input. Now is one of those times where I feel like we should look at these streamers and say, hey, look, man, go to Bungie and start pushing them. Say, hey, look, just give us 3v3, and we'll be cool for now.
Yeah. And what if this is a calculated ploy? Like, what if this is them putting feelers out there on what they want, on what the community thinks about trials? Like, maybe this is just a calculated effort to get people to voice their concerns or voice their opinions about trials and what they want. And like I said, if they're beating the drum loud enough for trials to return in a 3v3 elimination form, and everybody's talking about that, and that's what they want, this current Bungie that we've been working with for the past couple years seems like a Bungie that would respond to that and try and work that into the game. Maybe not with the next update because it's not in the plans, but with Penumbra, why not? Why not work in Trials of Osiris if that's what everybody wants? Right. So yeah, maybe this is all a clever ploy in disguise to try and get the community talking about Trials again.
Perfect. Dark Shadow Wolf is in the chat.
What's up, Wolf?
He goes, I don't think Bungie will win regardless of what they do. Some people will be upset that they aren't doing anything. Then if they decided to do something, people will complain about a rushed mode. I mean, there's always going to be a vocal minority.
Welcome to the internet.
Yeah. Welcome to just any online community for that case. But yeah, I mean, there always is going to be some backlash. I just feel like at this point, the lesser of all the evils is just push out a 3v3 elimination. Call Trials of the Nine, I don't know what you want to call it, just 2.0 for now. And then say, hey, look, we're giving you this for now. Sometime down the road, we'll have a revamp, something new with those pinnacle weapons. But just give the people that want that edge, that want that real competitive stuff. I think that's the biggest audience that they'll please, and that's the silent majority will be cool with that. But yeah, Wolf, I mean, there's always going to be a collection of gamers in any community who are just going to be like, they're going to jump on their soapbox and they're going to be like, oh, this is horse shit or whatever. You know, it is what it is. I just feel like doing something is better than doing nothing at all.
Yeah, it's impossible to please everybody, but you can please somebody, and you can please a lot of somebodies.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever combination of things pleases those lot of somebodies, like they need to figure that out and try and get something out there. But as of right now, as we sit right now, trials indefinitely. That's a pretty strong word to use for trials. On hiatus indefinitely, and will not return over the course of the next few seasons. So, yeah, so I'm going to be very interested to see how this conversation evolves from here, Brent. Like we said, is there just a vocal minority that talks about trials, or is this a big part of this community that a lot of people are going to come to bat for? I'll be very, very interested to see how that bears out over the next few weeks and months. Keeping on the Crucible theme, so we do want to mention something else that you mentioned a few times there, Brent. Iron Banner returning for the final time in this season of the Forge, this upcoming week. So once Crimson Days finishes up, Iron Banner will step in as the event of the week, and this will be your last chance to earn the armor for this season, to earn the triumphs associated with this season's Iron Banner. So keep that in mind. Saladin will have a Claws of the Wolf and a Swarm of the Raven available for you. It's the pulse rifle and grenade launcher. Brent, I'm really curious to see what role he's going to have in that Claws of the Wolf.
Yeah.
With the right perks, that is a nasty, nasty weapon in the right hands. And if you put like a counterbalance mod on that, and you have some stability perks and possibly even a stability masterwork on it, that this can be a very, very disgusting weapon. So I'm super curious to see what role he's going to have in that. I have quite a few Swarm of the Ravens right now, some really, really good rolls on that. So I imagine whatever he's selling in that, I probably have already. But we'll see what he brings out in terms of that. So this will be going all next week. And they also note here that the hand cannon and the SMG that were revamped from year 1 of Destiny and brought into year 2 of Destiny 2, those will be available next season as well. So don't worry about it. If you haven't got your hands on the perfect Criminal's Dagger or Hero's Burden, you will still have access to those. So what do you think, man? We'll be Iron Bannering it up next week?
Yeah, I'll hop into the Iron Banner. You know, I like the Claws of the Wolf that I have right now. I've got Outlaw Kill Clip on it with counterbalance. Yeah. And that thing is pretty nasty as it is. But, you know, you never know. There might be another roll out there that'll pique your interest or maybe make you feel a little sexy below the waist. Who knows?
Yeah. So I'm curious to see what Saladin's going to be rocking. But, yeah, like you said, I always enjoy Iron Banner as well. It's it's an intense mode, especially now with the power level mattering. And I feel like it's a lot more intense. Oh, yeah. With the new rules and with the power level mattering, it's a different Iron Banner than we got in year 1 of Destiny 2 for sure.
And it's even going to be different than when we first started Forsaken because you know, everyone is now close to 650. A majority of the Destiny 2 community is at 650. So that kind of the advantage that the hardcore had in the first Iron Banner and even the second one, that's starting to kind of fade away, and now things are starting to level off a little bit. So that is going to mean for some more intense matches at the Iron Banner stage.
Yeah, if you're not at or around 650, it's really tough to get into the Iron Banner right now. So you've really got to be up there to kind of have a chance to compete right now. But that's part of what makes it really exciting. So yeah, definitely looking forward to hopping into that next week. So there wasn't a whole ton of information in this week at Bungie. If you guys have been following the Seattle area or any of the Bungie developers, they've been talking about this like snowstorm blizzard that's been just blanketing their area. So a lot of them have been on lockdown for the past week or so. They talk about it a little bit in the blog post here, but they're still toiling away on Destiny, still working. But you know, the snow has kind of stopped them in their tracks a little bit this week. So. So in terms of this week at Bungie, that's the highlights in terms of what's in here. But there is something I alluded to on our last show, Brent, that I do want us to discuss. So at this point now, we're rapidly moving towards Season of the Drifter and a brand new season of Destiny and whatever that's going to entail. And I'll talk about a couple of the hints they dropped at the end of the show here about what we can expect from Season of the Drifter. But Season of the Drifter rapidly approaching in Destiny 2. We're at We're at year 2, almost year 1.5, I guess, of Destiny 2 Forsaken at this point. We have Anthem that we've participated in multiple demos for it. The VIP demo, which wasn't so VIP, and the open demo. We have Anthem going live for EA Premier members, or whatever the hell the name of that group is, goes live this weekend for them, and then it officially releases February 22nd. Which this whole thing is so stupid. I'm not going to get on my soapbox here, but not a fan of these spaced out release dates for these different versions of the game. Not a fan of that at all. I hate paying more money to get the game sooner. There's just something that doesn't sit right with me about that.
Yeah, it's so strange. What's up, Jacob? Jacob's in the chat.
Hey, what's up, Jacob?
You've got the Anthem Origins premiere. They get the full game tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Xbox EA Access members get 10 hours starting tomorrow, and then PS4 and everyone else gets it next Friday. So there's just so many different it is goofy as hell. I mean, I tell you, I love some of the other schedules that other developers have put out. They're like, hey, this game comes out on this day, and this is the only box on the whole thing. So it was pretty funny. But yeah, it's a goofy launch for this game.
Yeah, the best one was Devolver Digital put out a chart for About, one of their games that's coming out, and it just had it was the same thing just over and over and over repeated on that chart. It was pretty funny, but so and then to make matters worse, they've changed the release date for Anthem several times now as well. Right. So to the point where the BioWare developers are even making fun of it now. I saw Michael Gamble tweet something out earlier today where he was like, Anthem releases February 22nd, and that date won't change. So I mean, they're aware of some of the silly stuff behind Anthem. So, but all that aside, Anthem the game is upon us soon. We've played in the demo for that. The Division 2, last week we participated in the private beta. Is that what it's called? Private beta. Yeah, there's an open beta for that coming out too. Is that this weekend as well?
March 1st.
March 1st is the open beta for the Division 2, so we'll be back in to play that. And that game will be out very soon as well. Is it March 15th?
Yep.
So we got February 22nd, March 15th, both Anthem and the Division 2 will be in this space that Destiny 2 currently occupies. Say what you will about the differences between the games. The reality is these games are going after the exact same audience. That's why when they fly out these quote-unquote influencers to these events for Anthem and for the Division 2, they're pulling all the same people that are influencers of Destiny. So spare me any of this about their different games and all that. I get it. They're different games, but they're going after the same audience. They're trying to accomplish the same thing, essentially, and they're going after the same group of people. So comparisons need to be made, and that's what we're going to do right now. So, Brent, we have Anthem, we have the Division 2, we have Destiny. All of these games come March 15th are all going to be in front of us, all competing for our time. What does this look like, man? What does this brave new loot world look like when we've got all three of these games in front of us? Where does Destiny fit into this? Where does Anthem and the Division 2 fit into this? How is all this going to work, man? Talk to me.
Well, I mean, look, yes, these three games are all different in a lot of ways, but like you mentioned, they're all loot grinders. These are shooters that you're grinding for loot that are going to be updated over time. Every month, every week, something new is going to be happening in those games. And I think that's just like the appeal to a lot of gamers. This is like MMOs, but they're designed as first-person or third-person shooters with MMO elements, and I think a lot of people are find that appealing. That's just the constant grind to get rewarded, the constant progression. All that stuff is super appealing, thanks to Destiny. A lot of MMOs before that did it, but MMOs weren't as appealing to first-person shooters, obviously.
Yeah, they weren't as accessible as something like Destiny.
Not as accessible. So now you have these three games, which are all very accessible, that are all loot grinders, but they are different in how you kind of approach them. Destiny is a first-person shooter with sci-fi elements and PvP. A lot of PvP in there. Anthem is a PvP-focused, or I'm sorry, a PvE-focused event. Game. This is something you're going to be playing cooperatively. There's going to be a lot of different things that going on in the world. The world's going to change a lot, so there's a lot of cool stuff going on there. More Diablo-style loot. and grind to it. There's multiple difficulty levels like in Diablo, so that's cool with their own thing. And then obviously the Division, while it's a loot grinder, this is a third-person cover shooter. So you've basically, I mean, this is tactical, military-type gameplay with some sci-fi elements mixed in. But at the end of the day, dude, people are going to have to find their niche. Which gameplay style suits them more? And that's, yeah, they're going after the Destiny audience, but it doesn't mean all the Destiny players are going to leave. Not a lot of people like third-person cover shooters. Not a lot of people don't want a game that doesn't have PvP elements to it. And some people don't like Destiny 2 for whatever reason. You know, for whatever reason, they don't like it.
Yeah.
These games can all exist, and Destiny 2 is going to be fine. Destiny 2 has an advantage over Anthem because, yes, even though there have been some Knights of the Old Republic guys that are working on this game, the Knights of the Old Republic, this is a first-person shooter, or a third-person shooter. This is a shooter. This is a little bit different than something like an MMO in the traditional sense. This is like, it's just, I'm losing my train of thought here because I'm talking too long. I'm going to let you go first. I'll follow up, and then I'll try to gather myself. I got a lot to say on this stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about and a lot of different ways we could go with this, Brent. It's like, you know, for me, it's like you said, they're doing different things. Even though they're going after the same audience, they can theoretically all exist in this space. They just have to find their niche and then embrace that. So, you know, I don't think Destiny's going anywhere. Like you said, it's a first person shooter, and with that comes certain things. Like you get the whole PvP side of it as well that you don't. You know, the Division has PvP, but I wasn't a huge fan of the Dark Zone. A lot of people weren't a huge fan of the Dark Zone, so they're going to have some work to do in the PvP part of Division 2 to win not only myself over, but a lot of the people that were burned on the first game by the Dark Zone. So I'm going to be interested to see how all that plays out. I didn't even get to jump into the Dark Zone with the beta, and I didn't feel like a huge loss because I remember my experience with the Dark Zone in the first Division. So they're gonna have some work to do with the PvP. So what I'm trying to say here is with Destiny, you still have gameplay in Destiny that's second to none. Like that will hold up all day long against Anthem and the Division. There's different gameplay in there, but Bungie's gameplay remains as solid as ever. You have a whole PvP element that's not going to be found in either of the other two games. Regardless of what the Division brings to the table, the PvP element in Destiny is a big part of that game and is sure to be more robust than what we see in the Division at the end of the day from that perspective.
Yeah, and there are two different types of PvP, and Jacob made a good point. So Anthem and Division have to do it right for them to do well. Will those drops in endgames be good enough to leave Destiny, or will people stick with D2? And obviously endgame is going to be critical for all these games involved. Yeah. But, you know, when you look at the PvP and I didn't get to play any of Skirmish in Division 2, but I did watch some videos of people playing it. And, I mean, the PvP in these two games couldn't be any further apart in terms of how different they are. I mean, PvP in Destiny 2 is fast-paced, super abilities, you're flying around. It's a more high-octane PvP mode.
Yeah,
that's just not how you play Division. That's not how you play Tom Clancy games. It's slow paced. It's tactical. It's strategy. It's using cover and moving from cover to cover. They're two completely different styles of playing games. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be an audience, the Rainbow Six Siege audience, even some of the Battlefield guys are going to look at Tom Clancy's the Division 2 and think, that's cool, man. I can get down with that. It's slower paced and more taut combat. And then there's going to be other people who are going to look at Destiny 2 and be like, hey, man, I love the supers. I like going there and with my Blade Barrage or that weak-ass Nova Bomb and doing whatever I want to do and just creating chaos. So, I mean, there's two different audiences there. But, you know, for myself, dude, when we talk about these three games in this space, it comes down to time and how much you can put into it. Because you and I both know, and everyone in the chat knows, Jacob knows this, Wolf knows this, you only get out of this game what you put into it. These types of games, you have to commit. You have to commit a lot of time if you want to keep up with the Joneses. You have to constantly play and get in there and unlock stuff and find quests. Whereas if you say, okay, look, I'm going to commit to Destiny 2 for a week or two, and then I'll get over to Anthem, and then I'll try to get over the Division 2, you're falling behind. It's so difficult to balance these types of games to get the most out of them. I think they're all super intriguing. I think they're all really, really cool. You and I, we played the Division 2. Despite the invaded portion of it, which was kind of strange, I actually thought the Division 2 was really, really good. I thought it played good.
Very
yeah,
good.
I mean,
plays very well.
It played very, very well. It ran great. It was a great beta. Did very, very good job. They definitely came out swinging. They ran a go, and it was beefy. There was a lot to do in the Division 2 beta.
It's a 42 gigabyte beta.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big one. It was a big one. And then if you look at Anthem, I think Anthem is really appealing to me. Despite all the issues that we had in the VIP beta, and most of them were cleaned up in the open beta. I was able to hop in. I know you still had some issues, which is unfortunate. But, when we were in there and playing, I saw the appeal of Anthem. I was like, okay, man, I think I can get behind this. I love that deep crafting system, that deep weapons and gear system, seeing all those different little perks attached to each one. I love that kind of thing, man. And, the different types of difficulties, the lowest Grandmaster 3 is going to be where the best stuff is. That stuff's appealing to me. I like a challenging PvE game. I think that is really, really fun. So, for me, it's all these games are appealing, but I have to tell myself, look, Destiny 2 is going to be my main. And I'm going to try to get in Anthem in the Division 2, but I can't let myself get frustrated if, I fall behind. I don't want to, get so far behind where what I don't want to do is where if I get behind, I'm like, there's no point anymore. I have to okay, look, I'm going to play Division 2 here and there. I'm going to play Anthem here and there, and I'll be happy with that. For the folks that don't have to, have all the obligations that you and I have, I envy the hell out of those people where they can sit there and just commit to all 3 games and enjoy the fruits of all of them. I think that's great. But in reality, dude, the Destiny 2 is the top dog right now. They will lose some of that audience. I think some of that audience is going to drift over to the types of gameplay that the Division has, and they're going to look. Some people are going to look at at Anthem and look, this is more focused on PvE. I can dig this, but at the end of the day, Destiny 2 has millions of players. Millions of players. They've got a new season coming out. It's going to bring back players who've been lost. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. But I do think they all can exist. But I think Destiny 2 is the one that's going to kind of feel the most the impact of the other 2 games the most, because obviously they're the top dog right now. A couple things in the chat. Dark Shadow Wolf says, he agrees. Otherwise, you fall too far behind. It's so difficult to keep up. Jacob says, also with Division's PvP, have things to chase. Pinnacle rewards or cosmetics, or even like gold medals, like Destiny. Getting that is so pleasing. And then Wolf just said, I know people are concerned about the loot for Anthem. I'm most anxious about the story and the lore. I'm the same way. I'm really excited about the story and lore, even though I still think the loot's pretty sexy. If that doesn't capture anyone, it won't survive. I think it's pretty important to have a story. And I agree. I think because it's BioWare, because this is a PvE-focused game, there has to be a story. There has to be some good narrative there. And we're going to find out tomorrow, dude.
Yeah. So... obviously there's a lot in there. Yeah, and I think that's the main thing for me, Brent, is that Destiny won't be going anywhere. So it'll have its fans, it'll have its players, and even when the Division comes out and when Anthem comes out, like those, they might pull a certain player base over there, but at some point those players are going to come back to Destiny. Like, it's just the natural way of things, especially with Anthem not having a PvP element. So how often will they be able to update this game? Will they be able to keep that audience engaged day after day, week after week, without a PvP element? So it's just going to have to be PvE all day, all the time. Like, will they have enough there to keep that group for the long haul? Very interested to see what their plan is with that.
And that's like something that Jacob mentioned earlier in the chat. He goes, everyone says Anthem will be a Destiny killer. He goes, but at least Destiny has public events worth doing. And that's something that Anthem is going to have to excel at, being PvE. There's going to have to be a lot of world events. We know about the cataclysms now. We know about some of the storms that are going to happen. So there's going to be a lot of events, supposedly, that are going to be happening in Anthem, and they have to be super appealing, and they have to be very, very exciting and varied. because you don't have that PvP element to fall back on. They have to be varied. There has to be a lot of different things that'll happen, a lot of different types of enemies to keep people engaged. Because without, that's the beauty of Destiny 2 when you and I play it. If we didn't have Crucible, which we spend a decent amount of time, even though we're not very good at it, we still hop into Crucible quite a bit. It allows us to take a break from the PvE, which keeps things, I don't want to say fresh, but you're just like, okay, I still have a lot to do. Because I have PvP, there's still a lot to do in PvE every week with the different types of challenges that pop up. So that's the benefit of having PvP. You can hop over here, do this for a while, takes your time away from the PvE, keeps things sort of fresh there. Not going to have that in Anthem 2. It's going to have to be constantly evolving and changing and providing new experiences.
Yeah. And like you said, the best analog to what we've seen from Anthem is probably Diablo.
Yep.
And they're trying to take that style of game and put it into this third-person shooter. That's with all the loot and everything that goes into that. And yeah, after you play through a mission in Anthem and the whole like style of the mission and the way you attack the enemies and the way you're kind of constantly using your abilities, it does feel very much like Diablo in a third-person setting when you boil it down to it. Yeah, you can fly around in your suit and all that stuff's cool. When you get down to the nitty-gritty of what Anthem is, essentially that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to be a third-person action Diablo game. So I'm going to be curious to see how all that plays out. We've played the Anthem demo. We've talked extensively about the demo. We have a video on the channel here if you haven't seen it. And there's no question I have a lot of concerns about Anthem. No question. There's a lot of stuff that concerned me from what I saw in the demo and in the beta. But I'm still excited to get the game, still excited to give it a shot. And, the whole sci-fi world of the Anthem is very appealing to somebody like myself who likes that kind of stuff. It's far more appealing than the world we have in the Division. Ubisoft throws these hard-boiled military shooters in front of us all the time, and with the stiff characters and the stilted dialogue, and I could do without all that stuff. So hopefully Anthem excels in the narrative space, and there's a ton of concerns with that. That's a whole separate video. But like I said, we talked about that in the Anthem video if you want to get our in-depth thoughts on that. So I have my concerns, but I'm still cautiously optimistic about Anthem. The Division's gameplay is excellent. Really, really liked playing the game in the beta. And that's the cool thing about the Division. Like, that's a game you can hop into, and it's the act of playing it is really, really fun. And going from the cover system's awesome, the missions are fun, and everything that goes into that game is really good. The world and some of the other things around it are not as appealing as some of these other games. So there's that aspect that comes into it. So the point of all this, Brent, is that, like you said, all these games they're gonna have something different to offer. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have to stake our claim to one of them. And yeah, just thinking about that, it's like, my original thought after playing Anthem was, okay, well, maybe, we could hop in here once a week on such and such day, and we could go through the missions and do this and that. But is that going to be enough? Like, am I going to be able to get the full breadth of what Anthem has to offer? And if I do that, like, is there a day I can dedicate to the Division 2? Like, is there a day that I can just hop in and play Division missions and do my character there? And then do I have another day or two for Destiny? Like, how does all this work out? And
Right.
just thinking about it in my head, it doesn't work out. The math doesn't work. So, so I don't know how all of this is going to play out. I don't know if this is going to be a situation where I hop into Anthem and I maybe play through the campaign, I finish that up, and then I'm like, okay, this is all I'm going to be able to give to this game. Now I've got to go back and play Anthem or play the Division or play Destiny or whatever the case may be. So the long answer to all this, Brent, is I don't know how all three of these games fit together right now. I don't know how they all coexist. Obviously, the Division came out when Destiny was out, so that was able to find a place and find an audience and exist. But now there's going to be three of them in this space, and they're all basically out at the same time. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they play off of each other, and the fact that they're all out at the same time. Like, do they cannibalize each other? Like, do we see less sales for the Division because Anthem came out 2 weeks earlier, or is that such a different game with its Clancy appeal that it just appeals to a whole different audience? So a lot of questions right now, man. But I think at the end of the day, all three of these games will be out. They will coexist. They will have an audience. They will sell well. They will see a modicum of success. It's hard to say one way or another how much success each of these things is going to see. And I do think that once Anthem and The Division come out, there's going to be a lot of excitement around it. The shiny new toy on the block. But when that shiny new toy wears off and the game settles in, and what happens with the community at that point? Do the people that stopped playing Destiny to play Anthem for a couple weeks, do they realize, okay, I see what this is all about. This is cool and everything, but let me go back to Destiny now and get into Season of the Drifter. Like, I'm going to be very interested to see how that dynamic works.
And see, like, a couple things I just want to touch on. I don't want to drag this out too long, but one of the things that, we talk about, which game is going to be, am I going to devote my time to? And I know at first you make it sound like it's a tough decision, like which way am I going to go? But I thought it was actually a pretty easy decision. I mean, look, man, I played the Division 1. I liked the idea of it, but when that invasion or whatever those
the Black Tusk.
Yeah, whatever it was. When that thing got, people were gimping that, and they were just kind of like.
You're talking about what were those things called? Incursions.
Incursions. When
Yeah.
people started like just cheating that, and then the Dark Zone got completely unbalanced, I was like, okay, dude, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's what I was getting at with the Dark Zone, Brent. It's like you think of a Clancy game and the type of like taught combat that goes into a PvP Clancy game. Like if you were a Rainbow Six player and you hopped into the Division's Dark Zone, you'd be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
I'm going back to play Siege.
Yeah, and I don't want to dog on the Dark Zone just yet because I didn't try out the new version of it. And from my understanding, from what I was reading, it's a much more refined experience. There's multiple layers to it, so I think that's really
two
good.
Or three different versions of it.
So I want to check that out. Yeah, I
want
to check that out when the open beta comes out because I am interested. I do like the concept of the Dark Zone. I think it's a cool concept, especially if you get in there with the crew. So I don't want to dog on it too much. So I'm interested in seeing that a little bit more because it sounds like they've made a lot of changes to it. So that's really cool. But like, for myself though, man, when it comes down to like what game do I want to main, it's got to be Destiny. Because if I look back, dude, everything, it sounds so stupid because it's so trivial, but I thought it was really cool. I loved it how when you started up Destiny 2 for the first time, you got that cutscene. The thing explaining everything you did in Destiny 1. You did this,
awesome.
You beat this, you got this, you got this. And that reminded me, yes, this character doesn't have a whole lot in terms of like, I think you got to like a level 100 right away at start. I mean, it was the actual physical reward for playing Destiny 1 was the cutscene, but then your character got 100, like I think you got to 100 light level right away or whatever it was. And I love that, dude. I love knowing that I have that connection from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. That's what I want. And I've invested so much time into Destiny. I can't just be like, well, bye, Felicia, I'm out. These other two games. I can't do that. I've invested too much time. I want to be a part of this at the ground floor. I was there day one with Destiny 1, and I'm still here, and I plan on being this way all the way through Destiny 3. Destiny will always be my baby. This is the one that hooked me, that got me, and that I was able to get through its tough times. I look at the Division. I like the Division. I think the Division's in the worst position out of all these, if I'm being honest. Anthem kind of has that, is it the Destiny killer, and it's PvP, and it's got a lot of cooperative elements, and you want to fly around like Iron Man. That's all super appealing, and that's cool. Plus, it's BioWare. Everyone wants this to be BioWare's redemption story to Mass Effect Andromeda, because we all do know, despite Mass Effect Andromeda, BioWare is a very talented studio when it comes to telling stories. We've seen it. It's in their DNA. It's on their resume. We've seen all the games they've created. It's a very talented studio in terms of like creating a narrative. And if there's one thing Destiny 2 players want, or Destiny players in general, we want an awesome story, and we're getting it. It's getting there, but this is where BioWare has an advantage, and I'll be curious to see what they can do. I feel like they're in the best position. The reason I think the Division's in a tough position is because it's not only the last one to release, but it also comes out just after Season of the Drifter.
Yeah.
So Season of the Drifter is going to be out, and that's when all the Destiny 2 players are going to be like, oh, well, I got to see what this is all about. This is going to be out first. And whatever changes they make to Gambit, which is arguably the most exciting mode in Destiny 2, Gambit is freaking awesome. And so you look at that and you're like, man, what if this is a hit? What if Season of the Drifter is a massive hit? That cuts into Division 2. That's kind of like, And now that's not to say Division 2 doesn't come out and then word of mouth spreads around like, oh my God, these 8-player raids are incredible. They fixed so much. The Dark Zone's great. I just feel like in terms of like hype, Division 2 is in a tougher spot because it comes out just as Season of the Drifter is really picking up. I feel like that's where they're in the toughest position right now, even though they have more experience making this type of game than BioWare does. Dark Shadow Wolf said, one thing that Destiny has done the best is allowing me to make friends. Wouldn't have met you guys if it wasn't for Destiny. Wolf, we appreciate you, man. We love you too. Jacob, I know Jacob and I likes to razz me a little bit about my playstyle because I'm not as good as he is, but I do love Jacob. I love talking to Jacob because I know Jacob is a hardcore Destiny 2 player. He loves Destiny, spends a lot of time playing it, and for that reason, I can talk to Jacob anytime, even when he's trolling me a little bit. I still appreciate Jacob. I think he's a good dude. We've had a lot of badass Lord Tipsy. We've had Lord Cognito in the chat before. A lot of these guys, man, they're here because we all love Destiny. And we all understand the importance of it. We all understand the influence it's had on us, or this generation of consoles. And I feel like that's why it's going to be the main for a lot of people. And like you mentioned, not a lot of Destiny 2 players are gonna go out and cheat a little bit and take a look at the other game that's out there. But eventually, they're going to come back because Destiny 2 is home for a lot of players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at the end of the day, Brent, the Destiny 2 gameplay is just superb. It's unparalleled in this space, and it's going to be fun to see what the Division has to offer and see what Anthem has to offer. But like you said, at some point, it's like, okay, Season of the Drifter's out now. I need to get back to Destiny and see what's going on with the game. It's going to be fun to tap your toe in the water, and hopefully these games are exciting and they offer some cool things to do. But at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's gonna be about coming home. And you said it best, man. These games require an investment to get the most out of them and to really get the experience that these games are trying to deliver. And it's impossible to do that across all three of these games. So Destiny will be that game for me as well. I've played Anthem, I've played The Division. I've seen what both of them have to offer up to this point, and I'm very curious to see what they have to offer once the full game releases. But as we say right now, there's no question that Destiny will continue to be my main loot shooter fix, and super excited to see what Season of the Drifter has to offer. And but it's going to be a very interesting next month, Brent, as all these games are coming out and we're seeing how this stuff plays out. And very, very interested to see how this all kind of works out, man.
Yes, sir.
Now, on that topic, I do want to end with a little note that they had at the end of the Bungie blog here. So, quote, news about Destiny is random and light this week. Winter visited the Pacific Northwest and blanketed all its splendor with an immovable object. We don't tend to maintain the irresistible force of a fleet of plow trucks for the 1 week out of the year that looks like this. So earlier in the week, we hunkered down with our laptops and waited for the whole thing to blow over. That doesn't mean that our progress has been interrupted. We've been working from our homes to prepare for next season and are back in the office now as the white fluffy powder devolves into a brownish mush. Season of the Drifter will arrive on March 5th with some exciting evolutions for your Guardian lifestyle. We'll begin that conversation soon. So there's been a lot of talk about when Season of the Drifter will start. We knew that March day was just listed on the roadmap, so we now know that officially Season of the Drifter will arrive on March 5th. And if we go by what happened with Season of the Forge here in Black Armory, we can assume that first week starting March 5th is going to be the lead-in to the release of the Joker's Wild content, presumably on March 12th, which will be just days before the Division 2 is upon us. Joker's Wild will be hitting the scene and presumably, according to this, bringing some quote-unquote exciting evolutions for your Guardian lifestyle.
Oh, boy.
What do you think when you hear that, Brent?
Gambit's part of my lifestyle, man, and there's something they've been talking about, that something is going to happen with Gambit, and it's going to be an evolution, and Gambit's going to change somehow. And, I hope they don't do anything like super drastic, because I really do like Gambit the way it is, but there are some things I think they could tweak a little bit. But, whatever they do, I mean, I'm ready, dude. I just want to hear about it. I'm ready. I'm excited for it. I love Gambit. I love the Drifter. He's probably my second favorite character behind Cade. And, if they're going to do something that's going to expand more on Gambit and give us different ways to play Gambit, I'm ready, dude.
Yeah, with March 5th, Brent, that's right around the corner. So we're sitting here February 14th. So next week, would be the 21st. The
Yep.
following week would be the 28th and be the end of the month. So really, we've only got 2 this week at Bungie's prior to the release of Season of the Drifter. So I would be shocked if next week doesn't just blow the lid off Season of the Drifter and give us a lot of good information about what we can expect from this. When they say we'll begin that conversation soon, I'm anticipating next week. I thought it might be this week. They may have even planned for it to be this week, but with the snow, maybe they weren't able to get to it. But I feel like next week for sure, we're going to start to hear some real concrete stuff about what Season of the Drifter and Joker's Wild has to offer. So
what do you think? The 21st we'll get a TWAB. The 28th we'll get the live stream.
Yeah, I think, man, it's tough to say. Usually, yeah, let's go with that. The 21st we'll get a TWAB, and we'll have, probably a lot of stuff about what Season of the Drifter encompasses, and maybe the following week we hear a lot more about what the Joker's Wild content is itself, and what that's going to encompass, and maybe there's a stream or a Vidoc or something like that to go along with it. I think something like that is definitely probable, but we're close, man.
Oh man.
How much do you so we obviously know Gambit's going to be a big part of Season of the Drifter and Joker's Wild, but how much stuff outside of Gambit do you think is going to get touched with this game? Do you think we're going to see some significant additions to the game, just either in a quality of life or, like it says, evolutions to our Guardian lifestyle? It didn't say we're going to see some exciting evolutions to Gambit. It says we're going to see some exciting evolutions for your Guardian lifestyle. How much is going to be encompassed in this Season of the Drifter? Are we talking about significant chunks of the game outside of Gambit?
I don't know, man. There's not a lot to take from that comment, I think, to kind of draw that up. But
yeah,
I can tell you what it won't be. It won't be Trials of the Nine. I can confirm that for you.
We've got that figured out at this point. Yeah. So yeah, we're kind of in this calm period with Destiny. It's kind of a relaxed period where you can, maybe spend some time with some other games like Anthem as we wait for Season of the Drifter. You can finish out your seasonal rewards and what you're trying to do in the game. Like, all that stuff's on the table right now. But come March 5th, it's going to be full speed ahead with Season of the Drifter and everything that has to offer. So hopefully next week, Brent, we start to really dive into the nitty gritty of what Season of the Drifter has to offer. I can't wait to see what that's going to be all about. But this weekend, Anthem goes live for EA Premier Access. Whatever the hell the name is.
Origins Premier.
EA Origins Premier. Excuse me.
There you go.
I can't keep all of these EA. Why does the service have a different name on PC than the one on Xbox?
Master Race, baby.
It's
Origins Premier. I mean, that's Master Race talk. I mean, that's when you're PC, man, you expect to be Premier, Origins Premier. Everyone on console, those pens, they get EA Access.
Yeah.
We get Premier, baby.
Oh, whatever you get. Anthem was supposed to go live at today. It was supposed to go live at midnight. It was supposed to go live sometime tomorrow. Whatever the case may be, the game's coming out tomorrow at noon or 10
a.m.
10
a.m. Eastern Time.
10 a.m. it's coming out. So you'll be playing some Anthem this week, and we'll probably have some streams on the channel so you can see what that's all about.
Yeah, actually, let me point that out real
Yeah.
quick, because it won't be on YouTube, but it will be on Facebook. We can stream PC to Facebook, so make sure you stop by our Facebook page at Short Pause Gaming. Just type it in Short Pause Gaming, follow the page, and we'll be going live with Anthem, the campaign, over the course of the weekend. Probably a little bit tomorrow night, a lot on Saturday, a lot on Sunday, and a whole bunch on Monday. So we'll be streaming a lot of Anthem to our Facebook page, Short Pause Gaming. Make sure you go over there, give it a like, share it to your friends. Got any gamer friends, any groups, put it over there, let them know. We'll be streaming Anthem.
There you go. So be on the lookout for that. So Anthem is a Friday release then, next Friday?
Yes, sir.
For everybody else,
22nd. Yep.
For us console peasants like myself.
Peasants.
So I won't be playing the game on PC because I don't buy the game 7 different times like somebody else on this podcast.
No, Wolf. Oh, sorry. Let me correct that, Wolf. We can't stream PC to like YouTube. My rig can't handle that type of work. The only way I can get it to work is if I stream to Facebook somehow from my PC. I was testing out this weekend with Apex Legends. You can stream it. If you have a rig that can do both the game running on PC and streaming it. If I had it on Xbox, I could download. Actually, I could download the Xbox version. I didn't think about that. I could download the Xbox trial because I have EA access there. Could stream that to our YouTube channel. We'll see what happens.
Either way,
Either way, we'll be streaming it somewhere.
Anthem will be on this channel somewhere in some way, shape, or form on some version of Short Pause, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Mixer, MySpace, whatever. We're gonna figure out
MySpace. Basically, what we're saying is just go follow us everywhere. Okay,
Yeah.
Follow us everywhere. Send it to your friends, and we got you covered.
at the Short Pause. That's how you follow us on Twitter if you want to keep up with everything that we're doing. So be on the lookout for that. But that's going to do it for us, Brent. So a lot of stuff to discuss, a lot of stuff to tackle. There's more Crimson Days to be played this weekend. There's Iron Banner next week. So there will be some events in the world of Destiny to participate in. But, yeah, the big thing, Season of the Drifter on the horizon that we're anxiously awaiting more news on how that's going to work. And at some point here, Brent, they're going to have to talk about what the future of Destiny looks like come this fall. So I don't anticipate that happening anytime soon, but I think this summer we'll start to hear a little bit about what Destiny has in store for the fall. Maybe even this spring, late spring. We'll see. We'll see how this all goes down. But that's going to do it for us, man. You want to give one more shout out to everybody we had in the chat tonight?
We had Wolf, Jacob was in there. Appreciate you guys being in there and always talking to us. We had a couple other viewers in there that were just watching, and we appreciate them as well. But for those of you that chime in every week, we love hearing your thoughts on Destiny 2.
Absolutely. Love having you guys as a part of the show. So I echo Brent's sentiments. We appreciate you guys being here. If you like Tower Talk, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell so you always know when we go live. Spread the word to your friends. Hey, do you like Destiny? Come watch Tower Talk. Join in the conversation. We love hearing from all you guys. So that's going to do it for us. For Brent, I'm Ben. Make sure you hang out this weekend with us while we're playing Anthem. We'll see you guys next week for more Tower Talk. Hopefully Season of the Drifter focused. Until then, though, have a good evening. We'll see you guys later.
See you guys.